I survived the Great War and managed to get tickets to the Eras Tour. I've been a fan of Taylor Swift ever since I was a little girl and I saw her Love Story music video. I remember my friend showing me and my little brain just being like starstruck. Like she was a real life princess, and from that moment on, I was a Swiftie. I bought all the CDs. My parents would pick me up Taylor Swift magazines when they saw them in the store. All the things. And for my 12th birthday, my parents actually got me Taylor Swift tickets to her Speak Now tour at the Verizon Center. And that was pretty exciting. Aside from a few caveats, it was a pretty special night. This year, I've been trying to do more things despite whatever anxiety or fear I may have, and it happens to coincide with Taylor Swift's Eras Tour, and I thought, wow, that's like perfect full circle moment, going to that tour all grown up. I haven't seen her since I was 12, so I decided to try and get tickets, and those are memories that we don't speak about. But I did manage to get tickets to her East Rutherford show at MetLife Stadium. And so on the day of the concert, my mom drove me up and we briefly stopped at the hotel, and I got ready, went to the bathroom, did all the things, and then we headed to the venue where she would drop me off. Because of how challenging it was to get tickets, I only got one, and also I kind of wanted to do this for myself, and so I ended up deciding to go alone. And that both excited me and terrified me because I wasn't sure about the environment. I'm not the most socially savvy person, and the last Taylor Swift concert I went to, I did get picked on by some of the girls sitting behind us. So yeah, I was definitely a little nervous. So we pulled in to the line. I remember asking the staff, I have mobility issues, so I asked them if they had a disability drop-off point, and they were like, no, everybody goes this way. Like, okay. So we all got in line, the car line, and made our way to the drop-off point. And I, got to the drop-off point, got out, and I wanted to have a photo, but I realized that would mean I'd have to ask somebody to take a picture of me, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that big of a deal. As a person who doesn't talk to other people, it was like, but I really want a photo to commemorate this. So I just kind of stood there and awkwardly looked for somebody that I felt like I could ask. And these two girls who were really nice took a photo of me, and so I was able to do that. And then MetLife Stadium has this weird kind of tunnel system, so you have to go up a flight of stairs to get into this long tunnel. And I went up the stairs, and there was a line on one half of the tunnel, and you could see people lining up to go somewhere. And so people that were coming up the stairs kind of just went and got into that line, like, oh, I guess we're lining up here. And then we all kind of slowly came to the realization nobody knew what this line was for. And we asked someone, and they were like, oh yeah, this is the floor, the line to the floor. And so we were like, oh, that's not us. So this tunnel kind of went two ways. And since there were no windows in it and there was no signs or anything there, you kind of had to like, oh, am I going to go that way or am I going to go that way? And if I pick one, am I committed? Because they're very long. So I decided to go to my left. Yeah, I think it was my left. So I walk all the way down to my left, and the tunnel kind of shoots me out at this parking lot, or into this parking garage. And I'm kind of confused. I'm like, okay, I see people going out of the tunnel into the garage, but this doesn't feel right. So there was finally somebody to ask. I asked her, and she was like, oh yeah, you have to go all the way back through the tunnel and then down and then go some more, and then you'll get to where you're going. I wanted to clarify, was like, go down the flight of stairs. And she said, oh yeah, go down the flight of stairs. Okay. So I decided to turn around, go back to the stairs I came up, and go down them. And by the time I got to the bottom of the stairs, I realized, back to the drop-off point, I'm like, I don't know where to go. Like, the road is blocked off by barricades, so I can't cross. And I'm just kind of standing there looking around. And this other guy that worked there was like, where are you going? And I said, I'm trying to get to my gate, my entrance gate. And he was like, well, go back up into the tunnel. And I was like, but someone just told me that I should come here. And he was like, well, go back up. And I was like, to get to the place, it was very short with me. So I ended up just being like, okay, I'll go back up, I guess. So I go back up, and the only way to go is the other way. So I go the other way. I'm passing all these people in line. Oh, people liked my dress. I'm wearing it now because I don't really have anywhere else to wear it, and why not wear it for this video? Yeah, so people were telling me they liked my dress, and I was kind of boosting my confidence and getting rid of my anxiety. And actually met somebody when I went up the second time who was lost as well, and we were kind of like, okay, we'll stick together until we get to the end of the tunnel. And we made it to the end of the tunnel, and finally there was somebody who was like, oh, your gate is this way. Here, you're gonna go this way and then that way. So then I go, because my gate was the Verizon gate. So I made my way to the Verizon gate, and then I see this, I made sure to get there, like, I think I got there at 4:30 and gates opened at 5:30. And there was a line, and I didn't realize the extent of the line until I was there. And the line went, so there was the traditional line to get into the gate, and then it was so long that it extended past the gate, all the way past the merch tent, past the porta potties and around. And it was like really hot because the pavement was like absorbing the heat of the sun and then like shooting it up our feet, and it, so we were all melting standing by the porta potties. It was wonderful. Eventually though, the line did start moving, and we're going, and people start trading bracelets. And I had made friendship bracelets, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to trade them because, again, I'm not super great at approaching people. So I just kind of stood there, but people were really friendly, and they would see that I had bracelets, and they'd be like, oh, you want to trade? And then if I saw people kind of trading, I would kind of just like, I have a bracelet, do you want it? And then we would kind of trade, and everybody was super nice about it. Everybody's outfits were on point, like they were amazing. So I think we waited in this line for about, or I waited in the line for about, so I think I waited in the line for about an hour. Yeah, I think I waited for an hour. So it wasn't too bad. And then, we go in and go through like security, and they gave us the Capital One little light up bracelet, and we make our way. And I was like kind of determined. I was like, okay, I'm gonna find my seat, get snacks, go to the bathroom. I don't know what order that's gonna be in, so I'm going up the escalators all the way up, because my seat was the first row of the upper bowl, so all the way at the top. So I made it there, and I just keep seeing all these lines kind of forming, so I decided it would be probably easiest to get food now as opposed to like waiting and then possibly having to wait in a really long line. So I got a hot dog and a water bottle. Oh, and I got like a 32, like this massive cup of Mountain Dew. And I remember just because I was so hot and dehydrated, I didn't bring a water bottle or anything. And after like all the walking and just standing in the really hot parking lot, I was like cooked. So I got to my seat with my food. And, well, no, actually, I ate the hot dog by the trash can, and I brought my drink to my seat. And I got to the seat, and I was just so tired that I'm so thirsty. I think I, like, chugged half the Mountain Dew in, like, a very short amount of time. And then I noticed next to me there were some girls came in and sat down. And I was kind of nervous because, I mean, they looked nice, but, I wasn't sure. Like, I was just hoping that they wouldn't bully me. And so I just kind of sat there, finished my drink. I noticed people were kind of gathering at like the stairways that would lead to the different sections, and they were taking photos in front of the railings, in front of the stage. And I decided, you know, I would like to have photos of this. I don't have any photos from me of the Speak Now tour. I looked back, I cannot believe we didn't take any, but I guess we didn't. It was before, I guess it was before, you know, when you could just take a photo. And so I asked these another set of girls if they would take a photo of me, and they did, and it was really nice. So I went and sat back down, and then the girls next to me had bracelets. And so I was like, oh, do you guys want to trade bracelets? And they were like, yeah, sure, we can totally do that. And we talked a little bit. It was their first Taylor Swift show, and they were super nice. And then we traded bracelets, and at some point they got up, and I noticed kind of like a little group forming, and they were trading bracelets with other people. And since I had interacted with them and they were nice to me, I didn't feel so intimidated going up to that group and being like, hey, I have bracelets too. And actually the girls that they were trading bracelets with were everyone was like really nice. So it was just making my anxiety like so much less. Like it was a world away from my first experience. So we trade bracelets, and then I had heard there were really long lines for the bathroom, so I decided, you know, it's before the opening acts, I don't really want to miss that. So I went to the bathroom, and there was no line. It was crazy. I just went right in and then went back to my seat. And then after a few minutes, Gail started her set. I wasn't prepared for it because she kind of opened with like a really loud kind of bass sound, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And I was like, oh, it's starting, I should put my earplugs in. So I put my earplugs in, and she performs. I actually, you know, I'd only heard her ABC song before, and I hadn't really, you know, I kind of only heard in passing, and I never really looked her up, but I actually really liked her other songs that she performed. So yeah, she was really good. I had a water bottle, and it was in my cup holder, and like I remember just watching it go from being still to the bass being so loud, I guess, or the music just being so loud. I don't know about the bass, but the water was just like shaking. So I took a little video of it. And then Phoebe Bridgers came out. I don't know Phoebe Bridgers, but she was pretty fun. You know, she played her songs. Yeah. She finished her set and got off stage, and then there was like this big screen, like the big screen that Taylor's image gets projected on when she's on stage. That screen kind of had little videos of her behind the scenes music videos, and there was like a playlist going, and then we all hear the Lady Gaga song come on, and I heard this cheering coming from this one side, and I guess that must have been her coming out in the cart. And then shortly after, the clock started and the show started. Now I had purposefully gotten a front row because there were like no accessible seats when I went to get tickets, so I wanted to be in a seat where if I sat down, nobody would be in front of me, and so I could still see her. So for Lover and then Fearless, I was standing the whole time. Oh my gosh, when she came out on stage, it was just so special. Like my heart was like, and I don't even know, okay, I'm a Swiftie, but I have to be honest with you, I think after like, what album? I think after like 1989, I kind of stopped like memorizing as easily all of the lyrics to her songs. So I didn't even know all the words to the songs in Lover. But you know, it was just fun. You know, like when you're in a car and you're listening to the radio, even if you don't know all the words, you still sing along, and you're like, and you just have a good time because you're just vibing, and she's just such a good time. So I was singing, and so the person next to me had come, and he was standing next to me, and he was also very nice. He was, we didn't interact, he was pretty quiet. He was nice, so it was just like a really nice kind of area. And that worked out for me, and I was really happy about it. So, you know, she's going through her performance, and there were times when I would I would stand for definitely all the songs I knew, and then I would stand for the upbeat songs even if I didn't know them. But then I would have to sit down because my joints were really hurting from waiting in the line and all the walking and then getting up to the top. You know, it was a lot. And then also the concert. So I would sit down, and the people sitting next to me were so nice. Like throughout the concert, you know, they stood most of the time, but they would always periodically, I noticed them like kind of checking to make sure they weren't standing in front of me. And like, you know, I understand if you move and like if I'm not there, then there's a space. So I would have understood if they kind of stood in front of me a little bit, but they were so respectful of that, and it was really nice. It was a really nice experience. Oh, she premiered her music video with Ice Spice, and that was really cool. And then we got to the surprise songs, and she brought out Jack Antonoff, and they played Getaway Car, and then she played Maroon. Oh, I think the video came after that, but it was still really fun. I don't know all the lyrics to Getaway Car. I know like that clip where she's like writing it with him, and I always found that clip like really fun. But yeah, I don't know the words, but it was just really fun. You know, most of the crowd knew all the words to all the songs, so you could just hear everybody singing and her singing, and it was just a really cool time. I remember getting to 1989 though, and my body was just like, we can't go on. We can't. Taylor, please, I love you and I love your music, but also I'm gonna die. So, you know, I just kept my sitting, standing routine, and then yeah, she kind of went through the airs. Oh my gosh, it was just listening to the songs, you know, it's such a cathartic feeling to be singing with all these people who all love the songs just as much as you do, and also singing it with the person who wrote the songs. It's just like, it's so special. It was just such a cool experience, you know, and it was worth all my anxiety and my fears. None of that came true. And it was just really special. So, you know, oh, and then at the end she brought out Ice Spice, and that was pretty cool. It kind of seemed like Ice Spice was just as starstruck as all of us. And you know, she really is a presence. She goes up there and she just owns that stage. So it's kind of hard. I mean, yeah, it was just I'm at a loss for words. My brain's also really tired. It was so worth it. I remember like by the end I had made 16 bracelets because I wasn't sure how successful I would be, and I saw people making like 200, 300 bracelets, and I was like, I mean, you know, I might trade a few, but there's no way I would be able to interact with that many people. But I did end up trading like almost all of them. I think I only have like one left. So I have a service dog, and I had thought about bringing him, but ultimately I had decided that you know, in that environment there wasn't much he could do for me, and I don't think he would have enjoyed that environment, and it was really loud, and I don't have any like ear protection for him, so I thought it was best for him to maybe sit this one out. So my mom and him spent the day in Central Park having a good time, and I remember, so there was like no reception at the concert for texting. So I was getting texts, but none of my texts were sending, and I just see my mom texting my dad like, I hope she's still alive. I hope she's not dead, because I think because this was a really big experience for me. I mean, both mentally and physically. It was just a lot. I haven't done a lot of things like this. So I just kept seeing these different texts. And so by the time, I think my mom arrived somewhere between, yeah, I think she arrived when they were premiering the Ice Spice music video, because she was able to hear it. So she ended up tailgating outside, and she ended up, so I had given her one of the bracelets I made, and she traded it, so she did her own little bracelet trade. So she was out there tailgating with other moms. so Baron did kind of come to the concert. He just didn't, you know, come into the main thing. And then it was time to leave. I took another photo of myself, and kind of like, you know, a selfie just with the stage after everything was done. And then I took a photo of the guy who sat next to me because he asked me to, and then it was time to make my way out. And at this point my legs were just like, dying, and I was in a lot of pain. Worth it, but a lot of pain. So I started to go down, and I didn't see any escalators, and there was no one to ask, so I just had to go down these stairs, and I was so scared because the whole time, like, you know, all these people are, like 82,000 people are not going down this one set of stairs, but a lot of people. And I knew my legs felt like they were going to give out, and I knew if they did, you know, I would fall down the stairs. Maybe I'd fall on someone would follow me. I don't know. But I made it out. And then it was time to walk back to the pickup area, which was the same area as the drop-off area. And so I'm walking, this big crowd, you know, I'm like, ugh, a lot of people, but at least we're out in the air, it's fine. Very tired. And we get back to, like, okay, so here's where we're all walking. Here's a little street, then here's the drop-off area. Were we allowed to cross the street? No. What we had to do was we all had to pile back into the tunnel, only this time everybody was leaving through the tunnel. So thousands of people just kind of packed in there. And I remember seeing it ahead of me and being like, oh no, I don't want to go in there. I just got filled with this sense of dread because there were no windows. There was really no ventilation. I mean, with all the people in there was like little grates at the bottom that, you know, oh, there's the air, okay. So all of us kind of walked in begrudgingly, and we're going. And it goes up a hill before you make it into the kind of level part. And as we're walking up, we get to like the middle, so there's no turning back, there's only forward, and people stop. And then all of a sudden I hear, get your Taylor Swift t-shirt for $10, Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, cash. I'm like, who is selling in here? There's no room. And we move like an inch at a time. And I'm getting texts from my parents like, hope she's like not dead. I'm like, and I finally get to, like, so you get up the hill and it, like, there's a little gap and then it shoots you into even a flatter, more collected part of the tunnel. And right in the middle of this tunnel is this guy who set up his stuff and he's selling bootleg Taylor Swift merch. And I'm all for, you know, that grind. Sell your Taylor Swift t-shirts, that's fine, but read the room. When you're blocking off the only way to move forward and we're all packed in here on an angle, it was just like not the safest time. I feel like he should have been like on the side at least so that we could all pass him. So I get to the flat part. I don't know why I'm saying we. I get to the flat part of the tunnel, and at this point we move 1 foot maybe every 10 minutes. I mean, that's probably really dramatic, but that's what it felt like. And it was really hot because everybody's hot from the concert and we're all really tired. And I just remember feeling my legs start to shake and give out. And I'm like, oh no, if I fall, someone's gonna trip over me or fall on me and we're all gonna die. So I'm just kind of panicking, like holding on for dear life to not have my legs give out. And then people start coming from up the stairs. So the stairs that I came in to get into the tunnel when I arrived, people were coming up those stairs and going against the crowd. And because they were coming up the stairs, they were blocking the stairs, so everybody was just kind of stopped, and it was just like, I don't even know it was just this really weird chaos, you know. And I finally make it to this top of the stairs, but right, like, I'm like maybe a foot away, and I'm realizing because the way people are coming up and the way people have to go around the people that are coming up, it's gonna make like a spinning effect, and I'm already wobbly. So I started getting really nervous again, and I make it there, and what happens, I get spun. And then I barely don't, I make it to like the top step before I stop spinning, and I barely don't fall down the stairs. And I'm going, and I know I have to go as fast as I can because these people aren't stopping because everybody wants to leave. So I'm like pushing my poor little legs, and I finally make it out of that stairwell and that tunnel. And oh, I'm never going back. I don't like. I mean, if Taylor goes back there one day for another tour, maybe I want her to come to DC or Baltimore, to be honest with you. But you know, oh, I guess she did go to Philadelphia, but that was more expensive and sold out. It was harder. Anyway, yeah, that was the whole ticket fiasco. So I make it down to the bottom of the stairs, and I'm like, I'm alive. Made it to the dropout point. And then I see all the cars. I'm like, oh, I have to find my mom. But then I see a text from her. She says, oh, I'm parked. I'm further back, so you can either wait for me to kind of come up, or you can try and come and find me. So I was like, oh, I'll try and come and find her. And I'm trying to send her a text letting her know, but I realized that none of my texts were sending. So I was like, oh, great. So I walked like to the end, and I'm like, okay, I don't see her. I guess I'll walk back and try and get reception to see what will happen. And I'm like calling her, and it's not working. My calls aren't going through. And I'm just standing there kind of panicked, but also like, oh, if this is, if I'm stuck here forever, I guess I'm stuck here forever. But then in the corner of my eye, I see her car parked. And I'm like, oh. So I make my way over through the big SUVs and everything, and I get in the car, and she's like, you found me. How did you even see me? And I'm like, God, honestly, just God. Higher power. I have no idea. And Baron's there. He's asleep in the back. And then we have to exit the parking lot. And my mom took on these big, I'm so impressed, because these SUVs were like making room for no one. They were like, yeah, we're here, and we're going to be here, and we're going to move here, and we're going to be in front of you. And she was like, no, we're going to leave. We're leaving too. So she really had to like assert herself, and she did. So go mom. And so we finally make it out of the parking lot, and then East Rutherford is kind of like they just kind of threw pasta on the ground to get back to our hotel. So we had to go through all these curves and loops and roads and things, and turn around, turn that way, turn all back and forth. And we finally make it to the hotel, and we go to our room, and the first thing I did was like, I had to take off all my bracelets, because at this point my wrist had swollen up, because it was like, those things some people make them very tiny. And even though they're elastic, they're just kind of like, so I took all my bracelets off, got settled into PJs, and then the food I ate, I hadn't really eaten earlier in the day because I was just really nervous and I couldn't. So the hot dog was the only thing I ate. But luckily the hotel we stayed at had a restaurant that stayed open till 2 a.m. and we were able to get pizza, and that pizza was so good. It was really good. And then we went to sleep, got up, ate breakfast, saw some Swifties in the breakfast room, and then we got in the car, got ready to go, and my mom wanted to see the High Line, so we stopped at the High Line for a little bit, and then we were gonna go to the Rainforest Cafe in Atlantic City, but then we got there, we were like, it's gonna be like a 3-hour wait, let's just go home. So we're on our way home. We stopped at this hole-in-the-wall Mexican restaurant. My mom says they have like the best chile relleno she's ever had, so it was pretty good. I always get nachos because I like nachos. You can go wrong with nachos, but this place made very good nachos. And then we got back in the car again and went home. And so that was that experience, and it worked out, and it was just really wonderful. It was so wholesome. It was the first real big event for me in this new period of trying to do more things, and I think there wasn't a better way it could have started. So I'm really like grateful that I had that opportunity. Yeah. It was just a really good time. Bye.